welcome to my channel. So here we have a circuit to solve, and we are asked to solve it using Kirchhoff's circuit law. The resistors in each circuit is 2 ohms, and we are asked to find the current passing through each resistor. That means the current to each of this segment here. And this is something new to us, Kirchhoff's law. The last discussion that I gave in the class, and even there's a video on it in the channel, is that we use Ohm's law to solve DC circuits. This is still part of Ohm's law, but recall that the goal last time I told you is that to convert the circuit for whatever circuit that we solve, we must convert the circuit into this form. A single resistor, which is Req, and a voltage source. But the problem is not all circuits can be converted this way, can be simplified into this form. So meaning if we can no longer simplify a circuit into this form, we could not solve it. We couldn't solve the total current. So this is one of those circuits. And notice what's also the difference here is that first difference that you observe is that we now have 3 voltage sources, whereas in our previous examples there was just one voltage source. And here, as you can see, the polarity is now emphasized. Previously the polarity we did not previously we did not care about the polarity, and the result of that was that we did not know the direction of the current. We obtained the magnitude of the current passing through each resistor, but we did not actually um, we did not know the direction of the current. Kirchhoff's law would tell us not only the magnitude of the current but as well as the direction. Okay, so let's go to this one. There are two rules underlying Kirchhoff's law. The first one is the junction, or this is the first one is the junction law or the junction rule. This states that the sum of the currents in a junction is zero. So first, let's define a junction. Okay, this is a junction. This is a junction. That is a junction. That is a junction. A junction is something that separates one wire into two. It separates the current into two or more. So a junction can be of any shape. For example, this one is a possible junction. It is a junction actually. So in which it is made up of curves. In fact, this is the shape of this one here. This is called edges. This one, edges. It's not a junction. The shape of this is we're not required. I mean, um, this needs not to be straight lines. This one, okay. I can draw exactly the same circuit with curves, and it won't affect the characteristics of the circuits, the values that we calculate. It won't affect those. Okay. Now you may ask, the sum of the currents in the junction is zero. The only way for the currents to the only way for the sum to be zero is that some of them are negative and some are positive. And that's actually the case, because given a junction, we have a current, okay, a flow that flows into towards the junction. And we also have flow that leaves a junction, because a junction is a separation. For example, here we have one current that flows into the junction, and two different wires are taking current away from the junction. So we can actually say, we can make this as our convention. The one that's going into the junction, towards the junction, that will be positive, and this will be negative, such that when you add these two, it will just be this. Okay, the magnitude of these two must be equal to this, assuming that there's no current leaking. Okay, of course, This one, the amount of flow, whatever is that, it could be electric current or water, is equal to the sum of the amounts of these two leaving the junction. Now, the junction is not limited to one source, one incoming and two outcoming. It could actually be that these two are the incoming and one is leaving. Either way, that this will be both will be positive and this will be negative. Or you can reverse the sign. This can be negative. The one incoming will be negative, and the two outcoming is positive. Okay. Now, a junction can also be made up of many possible segments. For example, this one could be a junction. It could be that um, these two parts here are flowing into the junction, and while these other three are leaving. Okay, so the junction rule states that the combination of these two currents which gets into the junction should be equal to the sum of the currents that is leaving the junction. Okay, because there is no leaking. Okay, that's just the junction rule, and it will become clearer when we apply the junction rule to these junctions here. Okay, the next one is the loop rule. Okay, it says that the sum of the voltages in a loop is zero. Now, before we can make a loop, it would be better if we are going to, uh, I mean, we can actually name the points here. Okay, that would be the edges and the nodes. So let's name this edge here A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. So we have now different segments. This is segment BH, segment BC, segment CD. Now notice that the current passing through segment BC and segment CD or BD is the same, because this is just connected by one wire. Okay, so we have now divided this circuit into different segments. So what is a loop? A loop is something that returns to where it begins. Okay, it's a route, it's a path in which, in such a way that the starting point is also the ending point. But okay, we have this so-called valid loop and invalid loop. What is a valid loop? For example, this is a valid loop. A, B, H, G, A, meaning A, B, H, G, A. That is a valid loop. Or we have this loop, G, H, D, E, F, G. How about not a valid loop? Okay, what's a not valid? It is a loop, but it's not a valid loop because you violated one of, because the loop is that one of the requirements of the loop is that no segment is passed more than once. So in this case, for example, this loop here, um, H uh, H B C D H G A B H. What is this loop? H B C D here, uh, G A B H. Notice that this segment AB, BH, and is passed two times. So it's not a valid loop. Okay. So well, there are many not valid invalid loops here that you can generate. Okay. We also make what is not a loop? Not a loop. Not a loop is, for example, this is A B H G. Notice that A B H G. This loop, this segment here was not passed through, so it's not a loop, and you did not return to the original, the starting point, so this is not a loop. Okay, so the loop rule applies only to the valid loops. It says that the sum of the voltages, okay, here currents, and this is voltage. Now, why is there a sum of voltage in a loop? What is a loop? A, a loop is something that um, assume yourself that you are running to this racetrack or whatever this path here, and every time you encounter either a resistor or a voltage source, you will experience a voltage, no? There is a voltage, okay? So for a resistor, that would be a voltage drop. And last time I emphasized to you in the Ohm's law that resistors produces voltage drop because you have to use energy in order to resist the current there. Okay, so uh, okay, so for example here at A, we encounter a voltage drop first on this resistor. This will produce a voltage drop, so that will be our first voltage. Our second voltage will be this one for this path here. And the third voltage will be this, and the fourth, and so on. If such that if you add this, all of this, they must add up to zero. Then again, since they will add up to zero, then some of those will be negative. Which one will be negative and which one will be positive? Now, I will introduce to you a convention. Okay, there are two conventions of this, but actually there's just you can just select between the two. But okay, the first convention is what I call the second polarity convention or the second polarity met. In the second polarity convention, um, assume that you are actually, okay, we are in a loop, you must be conscious of your direction. Okay, it is when you pass through a battery, the second polarity in your path, in your direction, will be the sign that you will be taking. For example, for this loop here, the 12 volts will take a positive 12, while this one, because in this part here you will be in the downward direction, so meaning you're going to take the negative 6, meaning this will be a negative 6 volts here. Okay, but for the second polarity convention, uh, there is also a consequence of that. There is a actually an equivalent, I mean, yeah, it will there's a consequence of that, because okay, before that, okay, before we, okay, I'll just get back into here, so that, okay, uh I'll just get back into this this convention. i'll I first have to define currents. Okay, I will be using the junction rule. So unlike in our previous method in which we simplify the circuit this way and we get the total current, in this kind of circuit, we don't know where the total current lies, meaning that's the largest current in the circuit. It seems like to be the source of the currents. But we have the freedom actually to assume. It is our freedom to assume. Okay? So, as for me, okay, as for this circuit, maybe I want to put my source current here. Okay, but it's not actually, it doesn't need to be the source. I'll just say that there's a current here. Okay, and I will call this current X. Now, as you reach junction B, the current will be will separate into two. Okay, into this uh, direction here, BCD, and into the direction BH. Now, the junction rule, the junction law states that, okay, the sum of these two current must be equal to X. So if I'm going to name this Y, and suppose that I am going to name this Z, then X is equal to Y plus Z. Okay, X is equal to Y plus Z. Okay, notice that if you take that into an equation, that is X minus Y minus Z equals 0, that would be the junction rule. But I would not want to use Z here because it will be a waste of variable. It will be an additional to the equations that we will be solving. So what I want to use here is that instead of Z, since if I add this and this is equal to X, then I can just say that whatever this one is what's left of X when Y separated. So this means that this must be X minus Y. So in this case, instead of using three variables, I have just used two variables here. So okay, this is still the current Y. And now in this segment here, we now have current Z. Okay, and the same logic here, meaning that this current, the current that would pass through this one um, would be the current y minus z. And okay, now look at junction X, junction H. Look at junction H. There are two currents incoming coming towards junction H, meaning the current that will be on this, that will be on GH, is the combination of the current BH and the current HD. So meaning that you just have to add this. So meaning that this current is just the sum of this current and that current. So meaning this is just x minus y plus y minus z. When you add that, that will just be x minus z. Okay, the y will cancel out. X minus y plus y minus z is x minus z. Now notice here again that in node, or in the junction G, or the node G, these two current, the current Z plus the current X minus Z, will combine. Okay, at this point, and meaning that the current through GA should be equal to the sum of this plus this. Okay, so since this is Z, so this must be X minus Z plus Z, but X minus Z plus Z is just X. And clearly, we have recovered X. This is one way of checking that um, your assumptions, I mean, that you are consistent. Although we have the freedom to choose where we start, okay? I can start, I can put my X here, I can put my X here, or whatever. I can name whatever variables that I want to. But of course, we have the responsibility to be consistent, okay? We have that responsibility to be consistent. It's just like every freedom comes a responsibility. So our freedom of choosing whatever we start, okay, for as long as that freedom, for as long as we are consistent with our assumptions. Here, how to know that we are consistent? Okay, as we can see, we assume here to be the current X, and when we add when we add this one, when we take all the currents, and we obtain that this plus this is equal to this, and this is consistent. Now, what if when this current plus this current is not X, let's say X plus Y, or maybe Y, then there is something wrong here, or maybe that you're using too much variable that the circuit can solve. Okay, is there a limit to the number of variables that the circuit can solve? And it turns out, yes, there's a limit. And that is determined by what we call the mesh. Okay? What is a mesh? A mesh is a region in a circuit that is enclosed by segments. For example, this is a mesh here. This is a mesh and this is a mesh. This circuit has three mesh. So, um, the number of mesh will determine the number of independent equations you can generate from the circuit. Why do we have to generate independent equations? Because we want to solve these unknowns. How many unknowns do we have? We have three unknowns. And for us to solve three unknowns, we need three equations. So here, since we have three mesh, the number of equations, independent equations, okay, um, will be 3, meaning that yes, we can solve this. Okay, now uh, an equation is generated by a loop. Every time you take a loop, you generate an equation. So meaning we just need 3 loops here to solve our to generate those independent equations. But okay, you have to take note of this one. uh, the number of loops that can be possible, valid loops, the number of valid loops that can be possible in this circuit is more than 3. So I think enough said of the of this concept from Kirchhoff's law. We now start solving this circuit, and we start by the loop rule. Okay, making a loop. Okay, now I would want to have this loop, loop one. Okay, loop one. I can select A, B, H, G, and A. Okay, this loop one. Okay, uh, notice that our direction is counterclockwise. Now, every time you meet a resistor, you have to ask for you have to be conscious of the direction of the loop and the direction of the assumed currents. Okay, there are two two things to remember: the direction of the loop or your run. I call this the run, direction of the loop or the run, and the direction of the assumed current. Okay, you have to be conscious of that one. Okay, now we go back to the second polarity here. The second polarity states that if this is my direction of the loop, the second polarity that I'm going to encounter, okay, will be the sign that I'll be taking. For example, this one here, we have a 12 volts. I'll be taking here as positive 12. While this one, since my loop is going this way, and the second polarity that I've encountered is the negative. Okay, so meaning that this will be negative 6 volts. Okay, or minus 6 volts. Now, for the resistor, the consequence of the second polarity is that for every resistor that you encounter, okay, for every resistor, the voltage drop, because this is a voltage source while this one is a voltage drop. The voltage drop in each resistor is, yeah, you have to take note of the current. Okay, the voltage drop. Okay, you have two possibilities here. When passing to the resistor, you have two possibilities. Along the assumed current, along with the assumed current, assumed current, and against the assumed current. Okay? If your run, okay, we are run is along, here run is against. Okay? If your run is along the assumed current, then the voltage drop is negative. Meaning, what is, for example, here, what is the voltage drop in this resistor? That would be just be the resistance, which is 2, times the current, assumed current, which is X. So the voltage drop here is negative 2X. Okay? It's minus 2X. Okay. But if your run is against the assumed current, then this will be positive. Okay? If your run is against, for example, if our loop is flowing this way, C, B, H, D, C, then this will have a voltage drop of 2, positive 2Y, because the current here is Y. Okay? Now, of course, the second convention is the first polarity met. Uh, I noticed that I actually uh, I took this as my first because this is the convention I'm using. The first polarity is just the reverse of this. You take the first polarity, but the when you run with the assumed current, run again along the assumed current, it will become positive and it will be negative. Just the reverse of that. Okay, so you have to be consistent. Uh, okay, so we'll be using the second polarity convention or the second polarity method. Okay, now we are now ready to obtain our first equation in this loop. We start with A. So the first voltage that we encounter is this 2 ohm resistor. All the resistors are actually 2 ohms. So the voltage drop here, since we are going with along the current, going with the current, so meaning that the voltage drop there is just minus 2 times the current X. Okay? Now here, in the part, the second voltage that we are going to meet is is a voltage drop. The voltage drop from this resistor here. And since we are with the current, that would be another negative. That is now 2 times the current X minus Y, because the current passing to this is X minus Y. Now this one here is negative 6 because the second polarity is negative. So plus negative 6 or minus 6. Now the third one would be the same. Okay, that would now be equal to minus 2 times X minus Y, because the current here is still X minus Y. And the third, this is already the fifth voltage. That would be, that is now here we are still going with the current. So that would mean this is minus 2 times X minus Z. Okay? And finally, okay, we are here. This one will give us minus 2x because the current here is x. We are still with the current, and here that would be plus 12, and this is equal to 0. Now, all we need to do is simplify. How about the x's? We have minus 2, that's negative. Okay, now, here, the reason that I'm forming this equation is that your calculator can solve equations of the form ax plus by plus cz equals d. Okay, as soon as we are done with the three equations, we will be needing the calculator to solve the equations for us. We will not be manually solving these equations because it will take time, although we can do that. It's not difficult, but it's actually quite tedious to solve three equations and three unknowns, plus the risk of committing a mistake. So our calculators can solve three equations, three unknowns, but you have to write the equations in what we call the standard form this way. Okay? Or we can actually simplify this into lowest term, reduced, much better. That is divide each by 2 because 2 is the common factor. Plus z equals negative 3. This is my equation 1. How about my equation 2? I will obtain my equation 2 through loop number 2. Okay? What would be my second loop? Okay, I can just actually use the second loop as, how about this one? DHBCD. DHBCD. Again, it is your freedom to choose the loop as long as you're consistent, as long as this is a valid loop. Okay? So DHBCD. Now, okay, we start with D. Now, the first voltage that we encounter is the 18 volts, and the second polarity is positive, so meaning this is 18. And here, the second voltage is the voltage drop from this resistor here. So, since we are with our, we were going with our assumed current along our assumed current, Y minus Z. So, this means this is minus 2 times Y minus Z. And okay, as soon as we reach this resistor, now, this is the time that we are now going against. Our run is going against our assumed current. This is our run. We were going counterclockwise or upwards in this case, while our assumed current is going downwards. So we are now going against. So this is now plus the voltage drop here. That would be 2 times x minus y. And of course, the second polarity here is 6. That would be now plus 6. And again, this is, so I'll just take this as another 2. So I'll just convert this to 4 to reduce space. That would be 4x minus y. I can combine this because this is actually a series. Okay? This is 4 times x minus y. And again, this one, we are going against, I'm going with the current. So this is 2y plus negative 2 minus 2y plus minus 2y. That would be now minus 4y equals 0. Now, this simplifies into, which actually reduces to, this is, all is divisible by 2, so 2x minus 5y plus z equals minus 12. That would be my second equation. Okay, how about my third equation? Okay, the third equation is, I can now choose this loop here. I can just say that the loop 3 is, I'll just AC, I will no longer write B, A, C, E, to shorten F, and A. Okay, A, C, E, F, and A. Okay, what would be the voltage drop here? The first one is, again, this is now minus 2x. And here is the 2 that is now minus 4y. And while this one here is, okay, again, minus 2z and minus 2z, that will be now minus 4z. And here, minus 2x. So this is actually, I could just combine this. So that is minus 4x this time. This is now 4x because minus 2x. Now this one is, the second polarity in this direction is plus 12 equals 0, which actually equivalent to this equation, x plus y plus z equals 3. We have now our three equations. This is our equation 1, with our equation 2, and our equation 3. Okay, here we can solve this using our calculator. I'm using this calculator. Okay. uh, mode. Wait. In your calculator, you find the equation mode. In this case, solve below. That would be solve system of equations, three unknowns. And okay, all you have to do is plug in. Okay, so if you can see, I'm plugging in. That is -5, and this will be +2 and 1, and this is equal to that is -3. Okay, -5, 2, 1, and -3. This one is 2, -5, okay, and 1, and you have -12, while this one is 1, 1, 1, and that would be 3. Okay, our x1, we obtained our x1 here. Our x would be 51 over 35, and this is amperes. The unit of that will be amperes. While our y is 96 over 35, and our z is -6 over 5. Now, why is there a negative here? And what does a negative solution imply? Now, okay, a negative solution implies here that, okay, our x is this. So meaning, since we obtained a positive x, in this case, meaning that the true current is the same as our assumed current. So I'll write now in blue the direction of the true current. Okay, so the true current will be that, which is the magnitude of this current is, what's the magnitude of this? That would be 51 over 35 amperes, or if you can actually divide that, okay, uh, that would be 51 over 35. That's 51 divided by 35. That would be 1.457 or 1.46. No, you can have 1.46 amperes. But I'm fond of, uh, I'm more comfortable with writing in fraction because um, we are not losing any, we're not dropping any numbers here. We're not approximating. It's actually exact if you're using fraction. So, okay, this is 51 over 35, and that is 51 over 35. How about y? Y is positive. So, meaning the true, where y is, so meaning this one, this is the true direction of the current. And that would be that the magnitude of that current would is just equal to 96 over 35 amperes. Now, how about z? Our z is negative, meaning that since this is our assumed, meaning that the true direction of the current is actually going this way. So this is the direction of G, in which the magnitude of this is 6 over 5 amperes. That would be that. Okay? So, um, how about x minus y? What is now x minus y? X minus y, because that's the current here. Okay, so x minus y, that would be x, that is 51 over, sorry, that is 51 over 35 minus, that would be 96 over 35, and we obtain this. We'll just use a fraction, -9 over 7. So, -9 over 7. Since it is negative, we obtain a negative. Since this is our x minus y going, meaning that the true direction in this of this current is actually that, which is the magnitude is 9 over 7 amperes. Okay? That is the true direction. And how about y minus z? Okay, this is -9 over 7 amperes. So the true direction is going up. How about y minus z? Y minus z now would be equal to, that is uh, 96 over 35 minus -6 over 5. That would be 3.94 or 138 over 35. So it's positive, y minus z. So meaning that the correct direction is actually indeed this direction here. And since it is positive, you obtain a positive number, which is the magnitude is 138 over 35 amperes. Okay, that would be 138 over 35, or that would be 3.94. This is 138 over 35, or around 3.94. Okay, and how about x minus z? X minus z now would be equal to, or x minus z would be this minus that, so that would be 51 over 35 minus z, which is negative, so minus negative 6 over 5, and that would give us 93 over 35, or 2.66. This is 93 over 35, and it's positive. So clearly that the true direction of the current is still the same, with the magnitude of 93 over 35 amperes. Now, okay, which one is our biggest current? Here, this is the flow. From here, it will spread it into two, and as soon as this current reaches in this junction G, it will again separate. One direction is going this way and the other is going that. Now, when the two currents from here and will meet, they will combine here. That's why when you add these two, it will become this, and this current will meet again and will combine in this source here. Uh, I don't know. I think this is the biggest current. Yeah, this one is the biggest current. So I think you can think of this as the source current. But here, okay, there's not actually a source current or a total current, but yeah, we can think it that way. Okay, so this is now the true direction of the current. Okay, now I'd like to demonstrate to you what if okay, we use a different loop. Okay, so to calculate that, we must use another. I'll be solving this quickly. What if we use a different loop? For example, okay, let's use, given this assumption, we'll use a different loop. Okay, what if this is the loop that I'm going to choose? Okay, what if my loop 1 is G, D, E, F, G? So that would now be equal to, the current passing to that one would be equal to, again, this is my assume. I will still be looking in the assume. Okay, I will. I'm assuming that it's not yet solved. Okay, so okay, this is now plus. I would take a plus because I'm going against. So plus 2 times x minus z, and this one is again plus 2 times y minus z, and then this is minus 18, and this is now minus the combination of this 4 times z, and that would be equal to 0. So my equation 1 would be equals 18, or this is now x plus y minus 4z equals 9. Okay, that would be my equation 1. How about my equation 2? My equation 2 would give me, let's say, which one I'm taking. I'll be, okay, how about the loop A, C, D, G? Okay, the loop uh, B, okay, this one. The loop 2 would be B, H, G, F, E, C, and B. This one, that loop right there. Okay, so I'll start with B. So I'm going again with the current. So this is now minus 2 times x minus y. And then the second polarity here is 6. Now here is, I'll just combine this because I have another 2 here. So that become 4. And this one will be minus 2 times x minus z, since I'm going with the current. Now here is again, so plus 4z. So combination of these two, 2z plus 2z. So plus 4z, and this is plus 4y. In this case here, I'm going against. And now back to b equals 0. Now this equation, okay, and that would give me, this is all divisible, but this is, I can just say minus 3x plus 4y plus 3z equals 3. This is my equation 2. And how about my equation 3? Okay. My equation 3 would be, okay, I'll select another loop. Okay, how about the loop, just this loop here. A, C, D, G, A. A, C, D, G, A. A, C, D, G, A. Okay, so that would be give me minus 2x minus 4y. And here, that would be plus 18, second polarity. And this is now minus, that is 2 times that, so 2 times y minus z. I'm going with the current here, the assumed current. Okay, look at the yellow. So minus 2y minus z, and here this is minus 2 times x minus z. And okay, that is minus 2x, so this is now minus 4x, and that would be plus 12 equals 0. It's my equation 3. Now, okay, I'll be solving this now. Okay, from equation 1, that is 1, 1, negative 4, 9. 1, 1, negative 4, and 9. Okay, and for equation 2, that is negative 3, 4, and 3. And that would be 3. This one here is negative, this would simplify. I'd like to, can use this, but it's better to simplify. This is minus 3x minus 3y plus 2z equals negative 15. Okay, yes, minus 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 plus. Okay, so that would be minus 3 minus 3, and you have 2, and you would have negative 15. Okay, so I think it is correct now. Okay, notice that I have solved here. X is 51 over 35, and y would still be 96 over 35, and z is the same as negative, okay, 6 over 5. And you see that I obtained exactly the same solution here. Okay, that one. Okay, so it doesn't matter about the loop. Now let me show you the effect of um, making the same loop, because this is a common mistake. Okay, we have the loop A, B, G, and H. Suppose that you have forgotten. Let's say that you have made the loop H, H, B, H, B, A, G, A. Okay, let's look at the equation loop H, B, A, G, A. Sorry, A, G, H. Okay, what equation can we generate? Okay, that would be, okay, now we are, this is our assumed, so we are going against our assumed current, so that would be, now we add these two, that would be 4 times x minus y, and then the second polarity is 6, so plus 6. Here we are going against this current here, so plus 2x, and the second polarity here is negative 12. And again here we are going against the current, so this is now, okay, plus 4, plus 2x, so this means plus 4x now, because 2 plus 2. And how about this? This is now we are going against, actually we are going against every current, assumed current here. So that will be plus 2 times x minus z equals 0. When you simplify this one, what do you get? 4x plus 4x plus 2x, that would be 10x. How about the y? Minus 4y, okay, minus 4y. How about the z? Minus 2z. I think this is only z here. 6 plus 6 minus 12 is negative 6, which simply equals 0, which simplifies 2 divided by 2, 5x minus 2y minus z equals positive 3, which is, look at this equation here. This equation and this equation are the same. Notice that this equation is just this equation multiplied by negative 1, right? This is negative, positive, positive, negative. Here is positive, negative, negative, positive. When you multiply this equation, that would give us this equation. And that's actually because that this is a clockwise. This one is a clockwise, while this one is taken from a counterclockwise. So meaning that if you're going to the same loop, wherever you start in the same loop, okay, they will generate exactly the same equation. These two equations are the same in a sense that I can exactly make this equation like this by multiplying it by negative 1, and I will obtain this. So meaning that this is not independent with this equation. Okay? This is not independent with this equation. Okay. So that shows now, I mean, okay. Now, what if I made a different assumption? I'd like to show the third final solution. What if I made a different assumption instead of here x? What if, okay, I'll assume that my x would be, okay, I'll use in now in my assumed current will now be in red. This is the second solution. Suppose that this current now is x, and I will let this as the same as my y. Okay, so meaning that this current here will be, okay, I'll just use, this is my x minus y, right? So it's y, x minus y. Now, as soon as I get to d, okay, okay, let this to be, again, z. Okay, I'll just use a different variable. Okay, this is x, this is y, and let this current here to be z. So meaning this current that would move through here would be, see, this is y here, and then z here, so this means this is y minus z. And notice that this one here is the this current right here is the combination of the current x minus y and y minus z, but x minus y plus y minus z is just x minus z. So meaning this current right here will be x minus z. But our x minus z here is the opposite of our previous assumption. And when, as you can see, x minus z plus z, it combines to x again. So this is consistent. I still know that I'm still consistent because this is z, x minus z plus z is, okay, that current x. Okay, so, okay, generate equations. Okay, okay, the loop is, okay, we select this loop, a b h g a, a b h g a. Okay, this will give us, okay, look at the red. Okay, look at the red. Okay, we are going against the red. So this is now minus 2 times x minus y. And here we would have now going against the current. So this is plus 2. The current here is x, okay? X. So that would be now plus 4x. We are going against the current. Okay, sorry. This is, sorry, plus. This is positive. We are going against. So this is plus 4x. And then the second polarity here is negative 6. Okay, here, again, this is our loop. We are going against the current, against the red. So this is now minus 2 times x minus z. Okay? And there, as we go up, this current would be, okay, 4x minus y. 4x minus y. I added this. So plus 2x minus y. So I add it to here. So this becomes 4. And the second polarity is 12. This is 0. Okay, so I think this is correct now. Or that would be 5x minus 2y minus 2z minus z equals negative 3. This is my equation 1. Equation 2. The loop BC DHB. So here, look at the y. This is, I'm going with the current. So this is now minus 4y to negative 2. And then the second polarity is 18 plus 18. This is going with the current, with the red. So this is minus 2z. Take note, we are now using z. So minus 2z, okay? Okay, minus 2z. And then as soon as we climb here, we are going with the current. So this is now, the current is x. So this is now minus 4x. That is the combination of these two, 2, 2. And we're going with the current, okay? And the second polarity here is 6. So plus 6 equals 0. So this simplifies to, or this is now 2x minus, plus 2y plus z equals negative 12. And how about the third one? Okay, I can just use just GH, GD, GDEFG. That would be GDEFG. Okay, so, okay, that would give us, this one would give us, we are going with the assumed current here. So this is minus 2 times x minus z. And while this one here, we are going against. Okay, so this is now plus 2z. And then this is minus 18, second polarity. Okay, again, let me repeat that. This is going with. So minus 2x minus z. This is plus z because we're going against. And this is minus 18. And this one here, we will be going with the current here. Because look at the red. That is y minus z. So this is now minus 4 times y minus z. And back to, this is equal to 0. That would be the combination with this 4. Okay, so this is just minus x minus 2y plus 4z equals 9. That would be our equation 3. This is something, there's no negative here. So that would be 12. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I think we are now consistent. That would be, okay. And we obtain the solution. Our x is equal to 9 over 7. Our y is 96 over 35. And our z would be 138 over 35. Notice that our x, this current, 9 over 7. This is our x, 9 over 7. And didn't we obtain 9 over 7 previously when we solve x minus y, right? X minus y in the previous solution, look at this one. In the previous solution, x minus y is negative 9 over 7. Negative means the true direction is that, 9 over 7. Now, in our second solution, we obtain x, which is, this is our assumed x. And our assumed current is going that. And we obtain positive, meaning that the correct direction is negative, is this, our assumed current. This is correct, okay, because we get a positive here, and we get a solution of 9 over 7. So we get exactly the same. And you see that our y, which is the same as our previous y, this was our y, the blue y and the red y, the same, we get the same, 96 over 35. And z here, well, the z is different. We obtained negative 6 over 5, but the z, where is our z? Our z for the red is actually this. Previously, our z is, this was our y minus z. What was y minus z? Y minus z is 138 over 35, and we obtained that, 138 over 35. Okay, now of course, if you solve this again, you solve this x minus y and x minus z, you will exactly get these values, 51 over 35. Okay, okay, let's solve x minus y. Okay, that would be x minus y using this one. So our x is 9 over 7. 9 over 7 minus y, which is, what is our y? Uh, our y is 96 over 35. 96, oh sorry, 96 over 35. That would be equal to negative 51 over 35. Notice that our solution now, x minus y, is negative 51 over 35. Previously, our x, we obtained x as 51 over positive 51 over 35 because this is the true correct direction. Now, in our new assumed current, we get the opposite one. We assume the opposite one. That's why you obtain x minus y as negative 51 over 35 in our solution here. Okay? So, this shows that, okay, as I've said in the beginning, that for whatever assumption that you're going to, I just showed to you that whatever solution, whatever assumption, however, wherever, is your freedom as long as you're consistent through the junction rule and the loop rule. You will you might get different solution. For example, xyz here have the same different solution. Okay, our xyz is this here, 51 over 35, 96 over 35, and negative 6 over 5. While this one here, our solution is this. The solution set is different, right? We have two different assumptions, type of assumptions will get us different solution sets. Okay? Okay, let me write that. Our solution set for the first one would be equal to 51 over 35, 96 over 35, and negative 6 over 5. Our solution set here is, the solution set would be, okay, let's just use that. Okay, the solution set would be uh, 9 over 7, 96 over 35, and 138 over 35. Notice that we have different solution set, but when we solve the current, the actual current, we obtain the same direction and the same magnitude. Like, for example, this one is always directed clockwise at 96 over 35. This one here will always be directed clockwise with a magnitude of 51 over 35. And this one will be always be upwards with a magnitude of 9 over 7 and so on. Okay, this is now the power of Kirchhoff's law. Okay, this is a very powerful tool, and the current can be solved, not only the magnitude but only the direction. Okay, now I want you to, you can practice by actually solving it with a different assumption. Okay, try to try to solve it using assumption. You can let your x to be the current here. Okay, and let y and then x minus y. Okay, and solve the circuit. You will get the different solution set, but when you plug in to the segments here, the current, you will get the same magnitude and direction. Okay, so thank you for watching, and I hope that um, this this is actually a very intensive discussion on the Kirchhoff's law. Okay, so thank you for listening.